Welcome, I'm Bill Wake. We're here working on a calculator that handles inches as well as regular numbers, and we're to the point of dealing with associativity. All right, let's get this turned on. Okay, so in subtraction, we want to check that associativity is right, and we created a test that demonstrates it's not right currently. So 5 minus 3 minus 2, what we're doing is we're pushing operators and operands on two separate stacks. And so we get 5, 3, 2 for the operands and minus minus for the operators. And so when you work it out, it takes 5 minus, well, sorry, it takes 3 minus 2, the first thing on the stack, gets 1. And then 5 minus 1 is 4, and we get an answer of 4 instead of 0 that you should expect. Okay, and I did a little bit of editing in this file offline. We had this tap method that rather than spelling out key sut yd tap, key foot yd tap, I modified it so it would handle all our 2-letter keys and stuff like that. Okay, so nothing interesting, but that's the way it goes. The other thing I had going was I realized we weren't using file and line in our assertions. And with EG test, we have those values. So notice we get a little bit of an indicator up here that something's wrong in the table, in the array, and then the assertion fails at this line. If we use the proper message, just adding file colon 0 dot file, line colon 0 dot line, we'll get a better error report. So let's make that official here. I never know if this thing's going to be fast or slow. It's so weird. Well, it says testing. Something's changing. Here we go. All right. Yeah, so notice now the one message is right here on the line that actually failed. And that's EG providing captures the file and line names, file and line number, and then as long as you use it in the assertion, it can say, oh, I really should report it back here. All right, so handy little trick there. All right, I'm going to copy this out or comment this out and check this in with that commented failing test. I feel like I'm going to do that a lot today because I have some theories on how to fix things. All right, so make test use file and line number for better error reporting. Okay, now with this test failing, I feel like we've stacked up some other problems, and I caught a couple of them. Display negative numbers. Well, that's something we should do, but I think we realized we're talking about stacks, but we don't have an actual stack object. And then the other thing is, I think we'd like to have operator objects because knowing the associativity and the precedence is important for deciding how to process them. And if I don't have those in some single place, every individual place that does this stuff is going to have to kind of know which, what am I looking at? Oh, it's a plus. Oh, well, that's left associative, and its precedence is 3. Okay, I'm going to change this to correct just because right associativity's thing. Okay, so I think we're going to add a stack object, and then we're going to add some operator objects, and then we'll tackle this. So I found a shortcoming. To make it easier to fix it, I want to refactor what we've already got. Okay, and so I'm commenting out the test while we do that, and then we'll go back to it. All right, another thing I notice Yeah. Ugh. This is a mess. I don't know. This is the one that bugs me. And maybe we can do something about it. Let's add that too. Value.plus. We'll just say it that way for now. So one thing I feel like we can do is break out these cases. We're really switching on two things. You can see we have a switch within a switch. All right, Swift has a way to handle that. So what you can do is switch on both. Okay, so I'm going to switch on self and other as a tuple. All right, and then error with anything, doesn't matter, is an error. Okay, we'll return self, so the original. And then number, well, let's do this in small steps. Number with anything, we'll do that. Inches with anything, do that. Okay, so I think that covers our three cases. Everything should pass. Okay, and now this one has no intermediate stuff. This one has this other switch. So let's split this into three cases. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to do this the simple, safe way. I'm going to have to explicate those three cases, but I'm just copying the body and I can customize each one. So this one, let's do other is error. Case error. This one will do case number. And this one will do case inches. Okay. Now, again, that should all pass. We should have all unique cases. Okay. And then I can customize. All right, so I'm saying I know that other is number in this case, so there's no point to doing any of the case stuff. Okay, so I can take out that case. Number, add their two values. Okay, yes, I can do that. Okay, and then this one, we know it's a number. Sorry, we know it's in inches. Okay. If I don't use that value, I can do that. I think it's... Oh, and we left off a case. Case number with error, we're going to return other. Okay. Number error, number A, number B. Number inches with other stuff. All right, I don't think that's still a legitimate complaint. Yeah. So this tuple comparison thing lets us flatten it a bit. So I think that's worth doing. And you know, we got plus here, but negate is going to be the same darn structure. Now multiply is different because you can multiply numbers times inches, but I don't know. Okay. Test completed. All right, now let's do this other one. So I'll just, well, I'm gonna shortcut a little bit since I know. Okay, that one's inches. Inches with number. There's an error. And inches with inches. Is this return? Okay, and let's see, we got a mutable value A never used. That's true. A never used. Surprised he's not complaining yet, but jump on top. Okay. So now we can see, yeah. I'm not bothering here because I kind of am comfortable with what I'm doing, but it is good to do that. It's an effective way to do these duplication and simplify kind of things. All right. If you really trust your test cases, I guess I should constrain that a little. Yeah. All right. So error with anything. Number with error is one thing. Number with number. Number with inches. Inches with error. Inches with number. Inches with inches. Notice I don't have a default because I've covered all the possibilities. And let's make sure I haven't screwed them up. But that pattern of duplicate branches and then simplify, I definitely use that. There's a nice, like Gilded Rose has some good examples. I know I recorded a thing on that a couple years ago with taking advantage of that. All right, this is good. Okay, so let's say simplify Value.plus. Now, if we peek ahead to Value.minus, like what's the difference? Well, there's a plus sign here that becomes a minus, and there's a plus sign here that becomes a minus, and everything else is the same. We've got some work to do to get rid of that potential negation. Oh, actually, we don't do that, do we? That was clever. Okay. Yeah, all right. Multiply and divide are going to be similar, but have some different details. So I don't know. We'll have to come to them at some point. All right. Let's see. So that's Value.plus. Off camera. Okay, let's say simplify. All right. Stack object. All right. So in calculator, we have two stacks, an operand stack and an operator stack. Cool. All right. So let's make a stack object. All right. So one thing you can do, and I'm going to do stack equals array. Well, let's make this, can I make this type equals array? How about just type? Is that legal? Okay. And now I can do this. I can start using it that way. That's something. Make sure that builds. And then have I referenced? Let's find references to operands. I don't think I've used their name anywhere, their type anywhere else. Okay, so that's a little tiny step. What we really want to do is make public class over some type stack see, am I doing that right? I guess I want the t over here. Okay. Now, I think we can see what we... Oh, invalid. Oh, yeah, right. Everything we do with it is in here, so we can look at operands. Operands last dot format. So this is kind of fetching the top. This is initializing it. Operands, this is push and pop. Okay. So I don't think it's a weird stack thing at all. So I'm going to pull this into a separate file just to start with. It's, I don't know what I'd call this, utility maybe? It's not really domain, so I don't want to put it down in there. A new file. Swift file. Stack. Swift. All right. And then that's interesting, but I think I want to start with that type alias and work it a little further. Yeah, so I'm gonna add extensions to array. You could probably argue it either way. The advantage of making it a stack is I don't have to worry somebody's going to come in and do a sort or something. You know, I just sort of protect myself from some weird misuses of the array class. You know, because it would still have its 100 array methods on it. But I think as an intermediate step, doing the extensions is probably worthwhile. So we'll do that here and then pull it into its own class. Extension array of t. Okay. Oh, is that how you do it? Oh, I removed the T. Okay, I didn't know. They've already got it. Okay, so back to calculator. Let's find those initial values. Well, this init is already okay. This should be stack initialization. This, well, here's append is really push. So let's add push. Push of t. And then value of t, right? Pushing is just appending, so value. All right, and I don't know. I was going to write a bunch of tests for these, but maybe I don't need to. Okay. Since method append. And it was so happy to suggest it. Maybe element? Okay. Top There's another. Oh, let me do them. No, I still don't have it. Yeah, it's probably mutating. I don't have to say self. T. Extension array, mutating public func, something of object. T. Is element in scope? Okay, wow, that was harder than I thought. Okay, so this is push. And this is push. Remove. This is push. And push. And push. Okay. String has no member push. Well, these two are pushes. Oh, pending is not a stack. Okay, operators is though. Okay. I guess, yeah. I'm kind of surprised, but it's, accidental complexity, I guess. All right. Test completed, but somebody's unhappy. Pending that push, so okay, that's append. All right. Okay, let's look for operands. Operands.last is top. Let's do that one. Now, top has a problem, right? If it doesn't return the right thing. Last. Well, I guess we're saying it's on you not to call it if you don't know it's right. Okay, here we check it. I think. Operands.top. I guess I've mutilated it the same way. So this is not a mutating function. Returns an element. Okay. Okay, operands.top. I think that should be better. Okay, that is kind of a property, isn't it? Var top of element last. Okay. All right, any other lasts out there? Those don't count. All right. Well, we got is empty is still is empty. Okay, well, we'll have to take that into account at some point. But we got remove last, which is pop. Okay, so I guess we'll move this up. Pop, that is. It does take that shortcut of returning what it removes. I guess we can do that too. And it's just remove last. Okay. That was the only lasts. Okay. So what we've left out is the initializer that takes an array of elements. We probably could make that optional. And is empty. Well, here is empty is it's part of array already, but we'll have to pull it in when we create our own stack. All right, but this, I don't know if I ran it or not. This should work. Okay. Add stack pop. Okay. Now the change I want to make is get rid of this, activate this, put that down on the bottom, remove the extension, and give it a value. I guess this is elements of array of T. Well, let's make this element. A stack of some element type. We need an init. Init. Oh. Init. Sure, thank you. Elements of that, I'll make that optional. Name optional, contents optional, and we'll initialize it like that. Cool. Yeah. All right, and this is going to be elements. It probably is not mutating anymore since it's a class. Could it be a struct? Okay. All right, if I build, I expect is empty to not work. Operands. Oh, this one's ambiguous. Let's take that out. Operators is, I missed that, stack of string. No member is empty. Okay. That's kind of an early thing. Var is empty of Boolean. And you're empty if elements.count is 0. Okay, and now it all should build. And it all should work. All right. Add stack used for operators and operands. Okay. So we had the extension approach in place. We switched over to a separate struct because that does prevent us from worrying about any of those other array methods being used or somebody modifying the elements behind our back or any of that kind of stuff. All right. That's a good thing. All right. Now, operators. When the right moment is to decide what operator is what is a good question. What are we pushing now? Strings? Okay, operands get values. These get strings. Let's make up some operators. I don't know. I mean, already we got plus and minus. It would be nice if they just, if they could somehow encapsulate that. Their value methods. I mean, we could have a value method that takes another value object and does it. I think we can do that. And put it up here. So this will be an enum operator. Okay. And right now we just have plus and minus. So let's start there. I don't know if it's an enum at all. I think it's a little struct. Operator. All right. And then, well, what's it going to need? It's going to need, it needs this method. It needs precedence and associativity. Okay, so let's give precedence. Make that an int. Let's give it the name. Precedence. And then I would love a function A.plus B. All right. Var action evaluate. And it's got to be a function. Well, it's really got to be a value produces value, at least for our binary operators. So we would call evaluate A, B, and store the result and push the operand. Okay. Now, what else do we need? I mean, we're assuming associativity is left. Because we don't have any right associative things on our keypad here. Normally, exponentiation is the only one, and we really don't need that for the application we have. So, where do these come from? Well, let's instead of switching on top, what else goes on with operators? Encode and push. I mean, I would love this stack to be operators. Okay, let's change that first. Okay, now whoever does a push should be complaining. Operators.push. Why aren't you complaining? There we go. Okay. Top is now type operator. And so the thing we want is top.name here. Okay. And then push, and we're going to have to say to operator of op. Okay. Now, I guess I could also say, I could let operator know the names, make op. We may be able to push this further back. All right, but let's give this thing a make. Make this public to simplify some things. Public static make yields an operator. Oh, it needs a string. Okay. Name we have. Yes. Switch name. If it's plus, we're going to do something. If it's minus, we're going to do something. Otherwise, we're going to do something else. Okay. And if it's plus, we're going to return something. Well, it's going to be an operator with name is name. Precedence is, I'm just going to make up a middle number. I think, well, we almost don't even, let's say 3, just to give it something. And evaluate is, well, I think that's something we have to work on. Well, I can do it here. A, B. Oh, sorry. Let's A, B, in. I'm after this, A plus B. And I'm hoping it will infer everything I want out of that. Okay, so that one seems happy. Precedence 3, evaluate in A minus B. And then default, let's just return operator name, question mark, precedence 0, evaluate A, B in A, nothing in A. We'll just return the first thing just to get through the case. Okay. And now this is here. All right, I think that'll work. Now all our precedences are going to be in one place up here. I think that's all right. Yeah, okay, fine. We'll come back to that. But tests all passed. Okay, so we introduce operator class used in evaluation. Okay, now I want to make this go away. Top.name, we're going to look at it, and then we're just going to do operands.push of, well, top.evaluate with A and B. Okay, should be the equivalent of all this, because one does A plus B, one does A minus B, and then we kind of ignored the can't happen ones. All right, let's make sure that's good. Good. All right, it's nice to move forward the way I want to. All right, evaluate. I think I have to, should have a single space inside each brace. Oh, I need another one here. Okay, even though it's a one-liner, I gotta be. Okay, so we create and use operator. And I know we're doing this with only 2 examples. You know, we had plus and minus. We could see times and divide and maybe plus or minus or whatever coming in here. But this covers all those upcoming things, those couple of upcoming things, I guess I should say. All right. That, and it probably should live somewhere else. Operator objects. Okay. Let's move it. Okay, that feels very good. Okay, now in calculator. Whoops. Oh. All right, so we're doing this evaluation on enter, but the reality is you got to do it earlier. So let's go back to our failing test. I think we can get rid of some of this. All right, we'll make it fail again. We'll start dealing with associativity. Okay, so what happens is you push 5, you push minus, you push 3, you push minus, you push 2. But that second time we pushed minus, what we really should have done was evaluate 5 minus 3. And what that is saying, you've got if you have anything on the stack already, basically look at the top operator, and if the precedence is equal and it's left associative, which all ours are, so basically it boils down to if the precedence is equal, then you should do the operator you got already. And then we would get 5 minus 3 is 2 pushed back on the stack. And then we'd push our minus and then push our 2 and evaluate and get 0. All right. So it's not empty. Let's imagine we had an operator that was lower precedence. 5. Well, let's see. It's higher let's take higher precedence. If we had 5 times 3 and then we saw a minus, it'd be like, oh yeah, we should evaluate the 5 times 3 first. Okay, so the precedence on the stack is greater or equal to our precedence. That's really the condition we want. Or it's empty. Okay, we can't keep pushing then. But if the precedence is greater or equal to the current candidate operator, then we've got to keep pop and push and continue evaluating until we hit empty operators or a lower precedence. Okay, so I guess if we took 5 times 3 times, yeah, let's take 1 minus 2 times 3 times 4. Okay, so the 1 goes in the stack, the minus goes on its stack, the 2 goes on its stack. Then we see a times, and we don't want to evaluate it because the new operator is greater precedence, not less. Okay, so we'll leave the minus on the stack while we do the multiplication because it's higher precedence. All right, and I don't know if this is, if you're not familiar with like evaluation of arithmetic and stuff, this probably feels like, wow, he's just running through these things. But this is pretty standard for evaluating expressions, and it fits your mental model of, what does precedence mean and all that stuff. But we've operationalized it into putting things on the stack. Okay, but the point is, when you see an operator, you might have a pending value, that's fine, but you also might have, you might need to do some evaluation. All right. Now we always push first because you don't know whether to evaluate the current operator until you see the rest of it. Okay. Even though we only have 2 levels of precedence, so it's really not as complicated as that. But I think when we get to parentheses, that'll be a different level of precedence, and we might be able to make equals act like a level of precedence. So we'll pretend we're dealing with the general case. I mean, we could add exponentiation tomorrow and something else would change. But all right. But at any rate, when you get the op, yes, you should encode any pending value. 33 plus. Okay, I want to encode the 33. I know I'm not going to add any more values to it, digits to it. The op, I need to do some sort of evaluation. Basically, I need to evaluate. It's kind of, this thing is more, it's going to need to know the new operator. Okay, so let's say evaluate. Greater or equal, I don't know if this is too stupid. GEQ, greater or equal, is that a standard? It looks weird. Not less than. Precedence. Okay, let's pull that out. Naming is always a little tricky. Okay, let's put it in and then see what we think. Well, it's really private. Func evaluate. We're not going to call it directly. Not less than of int, and it's going to have side effects on our class. All right. Precedence. Okay, so this is kind of like that, and that's a kind of this. Okay, if we don't want to just go, well, operators are not empty, though. We want to say and operators dot top precedence is greater or equal to I'm going to call this precedence in here. Okay, so operator is not empty, and operator top is, since it's not empty, we can go to the second half. If the top is greater than or equal to precedence, so if it was a times, and we said minus, well, top is higher. We want to do the times first. Okay, so we're gonna clean out the stack while that's true, and do the evaluation, and then we push our own. All right. So let's get this opposite case. 2 minus 3 times 4. 2 goes on the stack, minus goes on the stack, 3 goes on the stack, and then times, precedence is going to be high, let's say 5. Operator top precedence greater than or equal to 5? No, it's only 3. Nothing happens. The stack stays unchanged. And that sounds right to me. Okay, let's see. We got a failing test. Let's see how that goes. Okay. Well, I'm happy. All right. So we handled associativity for plus and minus. Okay. And the symptom we had before was we were pushing everything on the stack all the way up, all the operators without thinking about it. And the stack would grow and grow and grow. And now it consolidates as we have stuff we can evaluate. All right. Now, this code is so similar to this code, right? This one goes no matter what. Well, operator top precedence greater than or equal to precedence. If we pass 0 in, this would be the same basically, because we're not going to give anybody a 0 precedence. So they would always be greater than or equal to the current precedence. So I think we can say evaluate not less than 0. I don't like that not less than, but let's test the theory here. Okay, it's still. Well, oh, it ran so fast I wasn't aware. Okay. Why am I not hearing it? My headphones are plugged in. Okay. All right. So, well, that gives me one pause. Our operator, we do put a 0 in for anything that's not valid. Let's make it a 1 just to make sure we don't give ourselves any trouble in the future. All right. Not less than precedence. So if I don't have a good word for above or, equal or above. Exceeding. Unfortunately, precedence gets spoken of as higher precedence is more, more tightly coupled or whatever, but it would be handy if this worked the opposite way. If top precedence is greater than or equal to the new precedence, then how about at least? So we're saying evaluate anything that's at least precedence. Do I buy that? So I guess I gotta look at the call site. Evaluate at least operator precedence. So anything there or higher is going to get evaluated. I think I like that name better. I hope it's conveying the concepts. Okay, and here we don't need to really push anything on, so I'm not going to worry about that. All right. Subtraction associativity correct. Display negative numbers, multiplication, division, show the most recent operator, how are we handling initial 0? Okay. I think we've come a ways on this arithmetic side, and I feel like we've got much of the mechanism and shape in place. So maybe it's easy to just add the last two operators and be done with it. But yeah. All right. I don't think they're hard. All right, let's make multiplication a reality. So we'll add one for that too. 5 times 3 times 2. We expect 30. Associativity of times. All right. And this should clearly fail. Right. So key, we don't even have that key. Reference unknown key star. Okay. So back in content view, get so many of those complaints. No, it's in keypad. Okay, times. I know it's in here somewhere. Plus, minus, plus. Oh. Are you... F7 is... F7 is divided and D7 is times. Interesting. Well, okay, we know that is calculator dot op, right? Yeah. All right. And then well, that should push it along a little. Yeah. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. Oh, times is not. Yeah, we really should have named constants. Let's go keypad. Percent is followed by backspace. Okay. Plus or minus, dot and plus or minus. All right, this test. You know, I'd be willing to map that somewhere else. Multiply. I'm going to do this. Slash actually means something different, and we haven't got to that one yet. Divide. All right. And I guess I could catch these others too, huh? I guess I'll use less for backspace. And then this is plus or minus. I don't think I have a good key for that. Maybe we'll use prime. Maybe this one. Maybe twiddle. Okay. Let's see if we won't pass, but we should get a little further. At least get out of here. Okay, 5 is not equal to 30. Okay, so we just didn't know what to do with the times operator. Okay, so I think we're going to go to our make operator. Multiply. Name precedence 5, AB, and 8 times B. Well, that doesn't exist. Where's value? Okay. So now we need a function times that looks like this. Well, all right. So multiplying anything is an error now. It should come up with an error. All right. TBD. All right, there we go. Well, as I often do for acceptance tests like this, I like to drive it from a lower level. So I'll just comment this out for a minute, ignore it for a minute, and work on value and making this function go. But I think we've gone a while, so let's take a 3 or 4 minute break, and we'll come back and get times going, and I'm sure we'll get divide going as well. At least modulo errors. All right, see you in a few minutes. Welcome back. Okay. Value tests. All right, let's check these. Let's see. Errors and times inches are error. All right, so if we take value.error times value.inches, well, let's say, no, I guess we got to break it out. Let's do all three. Okay, if we do it times another error, let's do A and B. Should be A times value.number should be A, and times inches should be A. Times anything is error. Well, we got 2 more. Sorry, 3 more. Okay, if we take well, we don't need to do that one. That's already done. Okay, but if we take number message, should be message. Inches, mixed up a little, times error message, should be message. All right, let's make that one happen. Okay, and the answer is we just always return TBD. So let's borrow. Well, I don't know how much to fight, but let's do it. All right. If we do this, error times anything, we return self, number error, return the other, number. We don't know if these are right or not. Let's return error TBD. Number inches, we're not going to think about it yet. Error TBD. I'm only doing the cases that involve error. Okay. Okay. Inches, that's another error. TBD. And this is error TBD. Okay. Inches, number. We don't know what those are. Inches, error, fails. Number inches is error, number. I mean, every pass should be an error at this point, but the test should pass. Good. Okay. All right. Now let's deal with the other cases. Well, all right. Let's test number times number. 5 times 2 should be 10. And let's take number. Well, let's start there. We'll peel them off one at a time. Okay, number times number. Should fail. Okay. Number value A times number. Okay. And let's go on to the next one. Number times inches. Oops. Number times 2 inches should be 10 inches. All right, so the previous test should pass now, and this one should fail. Okay. Wrong side. Number times inches. Well, it's in fact not an error. It is Well, it's close to this. This times that. I think I can do both sides here. Value.inches 5 times value.number 2. We'll just put them both in the same. So number inches, but what about inches number? Inches A times B. A, B. Okay. Number inches, inches number, inches. Okay. We're getting there. Okay, and our final one. This is inches times inches is error. Okay, so if I take inches 5, inches 3, and format it, I should get an error. Can't handle square inches. I think that's reasonable. TBD. All right, now it could be that, well, we could get feedback that says like, hey, square inches are important. I need to know if, my 45 by 60 is going to be enough space for something else. I don't know. But we're punting this problem of like, I don't know, you start saying inch squared and stuff like that, and people are going to be like, it'll throw people off. The other thing I want to do is I want to pull these error cases up so they're all together. Okay. Let me do that up here too. Just here. Okay. Now, I thought I saw purples go by, but I guess, all right. Where's content view test? All right. Now, actually, I probably jumped a little ahead in calculator, this at least thing. Let's just make this equals. And I think all our tests are going to pass except that last multiply one. Oh, I don't have it commented out. Oh, okay. 1 plus 5 equals. I'm not sure what to think. All right, I think making it greater or equal, well, shoot, I don't know. 1 plus 5, 1 push plus pushes, 5 pushes, plus pushes because it was empty. Then we get equals, and it says do everything that's equal to 0. Okay, that's why. That's not going to work. All right, it really is greater than. Okay, but I think we're getting this case for free. So I put it back to greater than. It should pass, and then we'll check this case. All right. Now I expect this to work. Okay, and even more, I expect precedence to work. So 5 plus 3 times 2 is 5 plus 6. 5 plus 5 is 10. Sorry, 5 plus 6 is 11. But if it added first, it would get 8 plus times 2 is 16. So we want to make sure that precedence of star over plus. All right, and I'm expecting this to pass. I think all the mechanism we put in is going to make this come for free, more or less. It will certainly work to put it in. All right, now I feel like running it. 45 inches times 3 plus 4 inches is something 7 plus 5 inches is that. 55 inches times 44 feet is an error. Okay. The formatting is a little funny to me, maybe, but not. If I said no square inches, I don't know if that would fit either. Now, oddly, okay. I'll take it, display. Whoops. I guess we were doing multiplication. Push this one down a little. Okay. But I think we're done with multiplication. At least we got to look at overflow, underflow for operators and deal with that. But division, okay. Let's see. Oh, interesting question then. How about 0 inches is 0 inches? Okay. Now, W tests. All right. Let's take 6 divided by 3 is 2. And this is number division. This one, associativity, yeah, I guess it is. Kind of jumped ahead of just checking plain old stuff, but this one's gonna fail. Okay, so didn't do anything except ignored it, and certainly didn't divide it. All right, let's do this again, and more value tests. Okay, and I'm going to take these as the same starting point. Whoops. Okay, errors divided by anything is error. Okay. We don't have divide yet. Number. Okay. Now, should complain about divide. Yes. Okay. Good old divide. Now, unfortunately, or well, whatever, life is that divide doesn't fit the same pattern as times. It's mostly the same, but not all the same. Golly. Let's say divide, and we'll return value dot error divide TBD. Okay. Now these tests should fail. What do you have? Four division tests and 4 failing. All right. So these, let's go to value. I'm going to take this case statement. And I do think we can do some consolidation, but here's my error cases. Any of those, that should be the same. All right, so let's run these. The first test should pass, this errors one. Green. Okay. I gotta get my assertions right. Number divided by number. Let's keep it whole numbers just to make it easier. 10 divided by 2 is 5. Number divided by inches is an error. Or vice versa. Is that true? No, that's not true. Let's do 52 divided. Oh, now that's the first one's an error. The second one is not. Okay, so let's break up this one. Number divided by inches is error because that's negative inches to the -1. Not doing that. Okay, inches divided by number makes sense. And actually, it's a major thing we want to support. If you have 52 inches divided by 4 inches, you should get 13 inches. Okay, now this one, number divided by inches, error, number can't be divided by inches. It's a little long. How about can't divide number by inches? Okay. Inches divided by number. Inches divided by inches is number. So 5 inches, well, let's make it 15 inches divided by 3 should be 5 inches. Nope, should be 5. I think that's not too long. $72. Numbers divided by 4. Inches divided by inches. I may have changed it while you were writing it. I got a small delay from when you type. I don't see anything wrong there. 52 inches divided by 4 inches is, 13. Inches divided by number. Oh, I see. You're right. It's wrong. Number 4 is 13 inches. Thank you. All right. Now, a bunch of these are going to fail. Some of them may pass. It's a formatting complaint. Okay, number divided by number. Sort of the easy case, and here we are multiplying. Okay. See if we can get a couple of these. 104 inches is not equal to error. Okay, number divided by inches. Number divided by inches is error. Okay. Inches divided by number should be inches. Inches divided by number should be inches. Inches divided by inches is the number. Inches divided by inches, so this is let. Yeah, so let's see. Where would you see this? Oh, sorry. Yeah, get off that. My Twitch page is top of that, and then somewhere on here you should see the old videos. Gosh, I don't ever look at it as a user. I mean, I know I go in here and well, I normally go in video producer, I guess. I mean, it claims they're all available, so I'm not quite sure how to get to them as a client. I think maybe when I stop broadcasting, you'll see a list of them or something like that. But I'll double check and see if I can make sure I can show those. I get them on YouTube eventually, but I'm like, I don't know, 6 weeks behind or something. So you probably don't want to wait that long. But we're in the middle of a calculator, and I think we're getting to the point of inches and all that stuff is working. We're using XC unit, which is Apple's one, augmented with some parameterized testing, EG test parameterized testing package that I created. I think last year sometime. I'm not sure when. Let's see, but I think I've mostly worked through the cases, and divide should work. So we're getting there. Yeah, I feel like if I look at somebody else's channel, maybe I should do that. James Shore Live. I know he's been broadcasting recently. Oh, Home About Schedule videos. Yeah, and the most recent ones are there. You can view all. It only shows about a week's worth for me. He's been a bigger names, I guess you'd say, or at least active on this longer and probably has more available. But yeah, I think. Let's see. Do I have that same thing? Home About. Actually, this is a weird view to me. Whoops. Yeah, I think. Normally I have a button where I can say chat and I can see, maybe I'm just not stretched out enough. Yeah, I guess, yeah, try and 45 minutes will be done. And I think you'll be able to see a button there that says videos and shows the old videos. Okay, let me hide that. It's too obnoxious. Okay. All right. All those tests passed though. That's the good news. So add support for division. All right. And again, I'll just run this to make sure everything's good. So if I take 44 inches and I want 12 pleats, I'm not sure what we're doing about fractions at this point. Okay. Sorry, 44 inches divided by 3 equals. Oh. Numbers and units don't match. Huh. Okay. That's not good. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that you should be able to see them once the stream stops. Numbers and units don't match. Okay, who says that? Let's look for text. Okay, let me do a clear. 44 inches divided by 12 equals. Oh, divided is not hooked up. We didn't put our content view test in. Okay, this should fail now. Division works on the values that we have, but I don't expect this to pass. Yeah. Okay, and that is on the keypad. Divided by is, well, it's at the end of the row with a slash. So that's this. Okay, so keypad, he needs to be calculator.op of calculator. And this is just a kind of weird syntax we have to use to get a closure function here. All right, and now okay. What did we get? 6 is not equal to 2. Okay, so calculator op. Oh, our make operator thing. Yeah. Operator name. Precedence 5, same as multiply, but it is a dot divide b. Now, it's okay. So connect division key. It's an unfortunate thing. I don't think I see a way around it per se, but there's a key for division, which I think is user interface and probably shouldn't be tied to anything else. There's the notion of dividing the values, and then there's the notion of we have these operators, and they call the function that does the division. I don't think I have a good way to put those together. Yeah, I just don't. Okay. But they make sense to me on their own, like the division operator. Somewhere we got to convert to that. Okay, now let's go back to value. These functions, well, minus builds on plus, so it doesn't have quite as much stuff. I think these three cases, actually there's a fourth case, right? Inches, wait a minute. Inches error, number error, okay, error. All right, yeah, these three cases, maybe I can pull that out. Excuse me. But then I still have to filter them in my default. I don't know if that's any better. So I could pull a method out that just says if compare self to other. If self is error, return self. If other is error, return other. And then compare these. But the switch statement requires me to be complete. So I'd have to either do empty error and drop this case, or make default do something. It just doesn't seem worth it. I don't know. Each one of these is different, though, if you notice. So skip past the errors. Number is okay. Number inches or inches number are bad. Inches is okay. So this one you can do the same. You can operate on the same thing. Times, you can number times number is fine. Number times inches is fine. But inches times inches is error. And then divide, inches by inches is okay. And inches by number is okay. But number by inches is not. So all three are completely different. Yeah, I mean, I can put the guard clause in, but it won't. Well, maybe I don't have to care. Right. I mean, I can put a guard clause in up here about the errors, but the switch statement still wants the complete story. Now, the thing I could do, let's see if this is okay. Oh no. If you put something wrong, it's how do we want to propagate, I guess. If you put a bad, let's say you say 3 feet 2, okay, it doesn't mean inches, we just don't know what it means. Well, this, Okay, you 3 feet 2 plus 7 feet. Okay, so you'd have error number plus, and then combining them, you'd want to keep the error that says 7 feet or 4 feet 2 is not legit. So I think I can fold these two cases together. Maybe I can do it this way. Let's see if this works. If it treats them sequentially, then this should be fine. So let's just do a build. Okay. Well, that's an improvement. Okay, so if the first one's an error, use it. If the second one's an error, then return the second one. So we'll at least propagate errors up. That was plus times it didn't do. Okay. That should all still pass. And I think these others, they're generating their own error. So I don't think they're quite right. I could fold these though, I bet. Well, even if I do, I still have to cover it in the case statement. The switch statement has to be either complete or have a default clause. And if I have a default clause, I think this expresses it better. So I'd rather do this if I have to. But I may be able to fold these two cases together. If it likes that, all right, I'm good with it. Now these number A, number B, number A inches. I can't fold them if they're not exactly the same. Inches A, number B. Like this. I don't think I can fold these two. I think it doesn't like mixing up the A's and B's, but we'll see. I believe I've been down that path. That would duplicate this one. No, must be bound in every pattern. Okay. Plus, that's okay. That has to be separate. Separate number, inches, number. Yeah, I mean these two are similar again, but they just can't mix. All right. Whoops. How about testing that? Oh, that's an idea. Inches times number. It's these two. Okay, so do oh, interesting. Because okay, that'll work here if it works. If they allow it, but division won't work, right? Because yeah, I can't find. I don't know what that means. A must be bound in every pattern. No, that's not. No, I don't think these are... That sounds too much like the other one, right? Optional age. No. Okay, undo. A must be bound in every pattern. Just a... I'm gonna do a clean. You're making me nervous. All right. It seems to be okay. Let's... Hey, a minute. Cannot find B in scope. That should be okay there. Number A inches B. These all look okay to me. Let's just do a build. Okay. Sometimes the compiler gets a little bamboozled. All right. I think it's caught up to itself. Have I changed anything? Okay. Oh, okay. Simplify error handling slightly. Okay. Yeah, I started thinking through, like, could I define some sort of thing that says, like, when does multiplication, multiplication is valid for the same or different? Okay, that sounds promising. Except inches is not the same. If we handled square inches, then this would be very symmetric, right? Any combination would make sense. Same for this. If we let you divide inches by numbers, numbers by inches, even you'd have inches to the -1. I don't know what they mean, but one how many stripes per inch, I guess, would make it make sense. We could give it an interpretation anyway, and it would be the same throughout. Now, this mixing, theoretically, I suppose I could say 5 inches plus 3 is really 5 inches plus 3. They're like two separate things, but they don't make sense. They don't make sense in the physical world. Like, you're probably leaving off an inch somewhere or something. Okay. At any rate, we got division going. Inches by number is, it's, if I have 3 pieces of 5-inch cloth, I have 15 total inches of cloth. It makes perfect sense. Numbers by inches, then I got inches to the -1, and kind of by themselves, they're not. It just seems like a bizarre thing. I mean, mathematically it makes sense, and if it were, miles per kilometers, what's a 1/kilometer thing, right? It may not make sense by itself, but it makes sense in the context of the expressions. Yeah, we have the same thing. Square inches, I don't want to deal with them. I could. I mean, I had at one point designed a unit calculator that handled lots of different units, and it certainly would have handled, it would have been fine to, basically everything had an exponent, and you could have square inches or square root of 2 inches or whatever's. But I'm not doing that in this case. I don't think it makes sense. from, from the perspective of the actual user, a quilt maker, quilter, somebody like that, trying to do stuff in the horrible English metric measures. I think my wife's actually going to try and do her next quilt with metric and just deal with, do the metric system. Maybe. Yeah, I don't think of it as a number. I mean, if it was meters, right? You could certainly have, I mean, if you were a carpenter and you were trying to estimate floor space in a house, right? Square meters make perfect sense. If you're trying to figure out how many outlets per meter, in a wall, say, I think you could make the 1/meter work for you. If I have a meter, I have an outlet every 2 meters and a wall's 30 meters, I can have something like 15 outlets, that kind of thing. But I don't know, I'm slightly crippling the math. I mean, it's kind of like the position of the people who did imaginary numbers, right? They've resisted it for so long. It's like, what do you mean the square root of a negative number? It doesn't make sense, and you would kind of have this hole in your mathematics, where, you can take the square root of a positive number, but the square root of a negative number doesn't mean anything, and we have a special case to block it, just like I have special cases to block things that are mathematically meaningful if you know about, units and, kind of unit arithmetic. And unit arithmetic basically has its own, you almost have a parallel arithmetic of multiply the numbers and then multiply the units and add the numbers and add the units or whatever. It's there. Yeah. And if it's a number that's like unitless, right? So there's no problem multiplying meters to the 0 times meter to the 0, because it's the same as any other number times inches to the 0 or gallons to the 0 or whatever. Yeah, inch is a unit like a number. Yeah, I mean, it kind of is. You're sort of like multiplying a number. You're kind of creating a mathematical space where you're multiplying a number times its unit, or I guess it's sort of like times a united number, maybe. If it's 1 meter per second, you have 33 is really 33 times 1 meter per second or something. It kind of, I don't know. Yeah, you're adding the inches in times. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. And maybe I'm wrong, and I'll put the thing in front of my wife and maybe a couple of her friends, and if they're like, well, what, I can't multiply inches times inches, what the heck, I need to know my 60 by 80 quilt, how many 4 by 5 squares will fit in it, that kind of thing. And then the square inches would make perfect sense to work through. The quilt makers don't seem to tend to have any use at all for square units. They're always measuring lengths. Usually it's distance across the fabric and then divided by some number to tell you how much to fold it over or something. So we'll see. I mean, if you were a physics student, well, you probably wouldn't want an inch calculator, but you would want the full range of all these combinations. Well, error with error is still error, but all these other ones that pop out an error because of this limitation, they should work on a physics calculator. Okay. So display negative numbers, show the most recent operator. I like that one. I did want to touch this one. Let's see, we got half an hour. Try and figure out half an hour's worth of work here. Initial 0. I think there's something still going wrong on the stack for this, but we'll see. And then I do want to deal with all this stuff we noticed about units, and they're just sort of error conditions or border conditions or edge cases, and I want to not kind of lock them down so we can just kind of ignore that stuff from here out. I mean, we're getting there. I really should blank out the space, or lighten the spaces. We don't handle these. We do handle these. We handle the numbers, and we don't handle the memory, and we don't handle the dot and this. And we don't handle the slash, which I haven't really touched on, but my thought is you would say 5.3/8 would give you 5 3/8 yards. And this is actually what they call a mid dot. It's not a period. It's in the middle of the middle of the space for the character, more or less. And if you did 5.3 inches, we should handle that maybe, and handle 5.3/8 with this slash, not this one. Yeah. So, we got kind of 2/3 of the buttons working anyway. I don't think that backspace is going to be hard. Memories sort of seems like just another field somewhere that's, calculating stuff. But okay. This 0 thing. All right. And then, so I'm going to move these up because I do want to close those off. Whoops. All right. The purple errors, I might talk to John Reed and see if he's seeing similar things, or maybe take another pass at the way we're doing it. I don't know. All right. Initial 0. Well, the deal is there in the calculator, we push a 0 on when you start. Okay. And we have this notion of the display, and display basically chooses, am I showing the pending stuff, which is the numbers we're in the middle of typing in, 3, 4, 2, until we hit the plus, we could type another digit and it would be 5. But after the plus, it'd be 3, 4, 2 plus 5. So we distinguish the operand in progress, and we actually went out of our way to make that italics. But when I hit equals, it formats it. It takes the italics off. This is the actual value that it has. Now, right now, we're just displaying the top of the stack as that. But what's weird, and I think this number 0 thing is contributing to it, is the value there. Okay, now I do 66 inches equals. Well, I think my stack is 0, and then whatever the previous one was, and then 1 yard, 2 feet, 6 inches, and then the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing. My stack is filling up. All right, the operator stack gets emptied out, but the operand stack, nothing's clearing it. Let's check that and enter. So it evaluates, and then display is just the top of the stack. So I think they're separate things. And I think pending needs to, what is it? Pending is okay, I think. If you're in the middle of typing something, you want to display it. Otherwise, you want to display what's on the top of the stack. But that's really, it doesn't get there. All right, let's do another experiment. 4 feet plus, right? Then it's displayed what's on top of the stack, which is okay. I mean, but I really feel like we need a separate display. And equals should pop the top of the stack into the display and do that. If it exists, and all right. So I don't know, I'm getting a little deeper than value 0, but see, I think value 0 is on the stack, and it just happens to be what gets displayed here because it happens to be on top of the stack. And that seems wrong because like the stack should be empty as soon as somebody hits equals. Okay, so I'm going to say that there is another string. Let's call it private set. I don't know if anybody looks at it. This is display string, or it's result. Okay, I'm going to do that. Well, no, he should be a value. Okay, let's make that a value. Well, equals value dot number 0. Okay, now nobody's displaying this. Result should be an optional value. Well, I think there's always going to be one. Okay, so I think what I want to say is if operands is empty, yeah, exactly. It's there, but the way we are now, if I do 1 equals 2 equals 3 equals, it displays 1, 2, 3 like it should, but it's still got 3 numbers on the stack, or 4 because 0 is there as well. I don't want to do that. If the stack is empty, let's see. So if operands is empty, well, I guess this is, again, if it's not empty, then I do want to return this. Okay. But if operands is empty, then I want to return result. And I guess I got to format it. Result dot format imperial formatter dot as yards. Okay, and we aren't handling the show as yet, so this is still that. Okay, this should still pass. Nobody's worried. Operands that is empty is never true. It always has stuff in it. Okay. Now, if I take it out, I'm saying, let's start with an empty operand stack. Stack of whose value, right? Yeah. Okay, now I think we should still see 0. Okay, and if we run it, if we see 0 now, that's coming from here. All right, and it is, and let's prove it. Whoops. Okay. So now we should see 42. Okay, but if I do 5 inches equals 66 inches equals, I still have that stuff on the stack. All right, but I'm going to take it off. Now, evaluate. Let's see. Can evaluate not have anything on the stack? Well, if there's at least one operand when it goes in, there's at least one operand when it goes out, right? Or am I saying that right? If I have, I guess I can't have more operators than operands. So I'm always popping an operator and on net popping an operand. So I will always have stuff in the stack when this is done. Yes, equals should clear the stack. All right, so let's make that true. Okay, so he evaluates. I think he should say result equals operands dot top. He will always have a value if there was anything to start with. Now, okay, that may not be true. We'll have a test case for that at some point. All right, so if I take the operands dot, let's take pop. If I pop that off the top of the stack and store it in result, then I should theoretically have an empty stack and a result. Okay, so we'll run tests first. Okay, apparently it is not true. Enter. What are we testing here? Enter without pending uses 0. Oh, okay, that's the test I was wanting to write. Let's see. Okay, so we already have the case covered. I guess that's good. Let's see. So in this case, you type 0 equals, he encodes pending value. There is none. Entering a new number, false. Evaluate it. There are no operators, so it immediately exits, and there is no value. So it shouldn't really do anything. So I guess this is, if not operands is empty, then we're going to set result. If the operand is empty, that means there was never anything entered, and we're not affecting result. Okay, so, all right. Now I don't know that this three-way. Oh, okay. Let's put this next to calculator. I changed it to 42. I should change it back to 0. Okay. Now this three-way thing of finding, looking in 3 places for it, that's kind of weird. I don't think it's wrong per se. Okay, so let's separate out result from stack, clearing stack when equals is done. Okay, so so now this should be fine. Equals, 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 equals. 1 inch equals 3, 8 inch equals. Okay, and I think at the end of equals, where's enter? All right. I mean, it's really the case that operands should be empty. Is it assert? Operands is empty. And I'm just going to do this temporarily, but operators is empty. All right, because evaluate runs, well, wherever it is. Well, it runs is empty, except we did and 0, but everything's greater than 0 if it has any real operators on there. We never push the 0 operator on. So at the end of this one, operators is empty. But in the case of enter. Okay, and I'll just leave this for now. I don't know, like the language Eiffel, you put these assertions in all the time, and before and after conditions for functions or for objects. This is true. Now, if we didn't do this, like our old version did not do this, and I think it's going to fail these asserts. Yeah, because it always took them off the stack and left them on there. Okay, so let's do that, and if you start subtracting a value, the 0 needs to be pushed onto the stack. Yeah, is that a legitimate thing? We haven't really dealt with that, but that's a good question. So I guess running it, we'll see it. So in a lot of calculators, you could say 0, start 0, and then do -3 equals. Okay, we crash, because ignore. We don't allow that. I don't know if we should. All right. The other side of it is even values you do 44 equals. Can you say -3 equals? Okay. Well, you can't. But I think we need to clarify that. And if you start with an operator, you should load the previous result as the first operand. Okay. Yeah, lots of calculators do that. I mean, it's almost maybe universal. I don't know. These days, any calculator I've seen in the last 30 years has certainly done that. Okay, so yeah, that's a good point. And I think with that, kind of what's going on is there should, I mean, if I were doing expressions in a compiler, the compiler grammar is going to enforce that, like, the first thing that can happen is going to be either a number or a left parenthesis, and none of these other, well, yard, feet, inch are sort of extended parts of numbers, but you can't start with just percent or point or plus or minus. Maybe, I mean, you got to define it. Now that would be enforced as you did it. So if you said 3 plus times 4, do you want, what happens? Well, in our case, weird things happen. Boom. Okay. Because again, we talked about, but did not enforce, keeping the latest operator around and only pushing it when the next character drives it. And then if you hit 2 operators in a row, the last one would win. I don't think it's unreasonable. Okay. Yeah, but that's another question. So if you hit 2 operators in a row, the last one should win. Okay. But, from a grammar perspective, if my compiler sees 3 plus 4 times plus minus 2, it goes like, what? There's an error here. You can't have these 2 operators. You got to have operands in the middle. So I theoretically could define a state machine that would navigate through all that. And, as I transition from 7 inches, whatever, and hit a plus, I would go from the state of being entering an object, entering a value, to an operator. Excuse me. And the next thing would be, I expect another operand to start. Okay. So how are we handling the initial 0? Okay, I think the decision there is split out a separate result so the display shows it when the operand stack is empty. Sorry, excuse me. All right, so we've done that. I think that sets us up for next time. So we will come in and let's, test and debugging or whatever we have to do to take all these cases and clean up just that value entry. Not using the slash yet. And I may gray out those non-active operators or figure out some way to do something like that. Just to kind of clarify what's working as we go. All right, so next time is Wednesday, 2 to 4:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time or 6 to 8:30 p.m. UTC. Thank you, Mudshark, and first-timer JC Upac. And everybody else who's not speaking up, I hope I can catch you sometime in the future. Take care. Good night. Whoops. Flip. Okay. Bye.